Welcome to this video tutorial on modifying the environment in ANVEL. Modifying an environment mostly involves adding objects and placing them within the environment. You can also modify the terrain, but this is covered separately. Now before you start, make sure you're in World Editor mode to use the tools in this video. Let's start with the default grass field environment. This has a course already, but I want to change it for my own purposes. First, I'll delete the part of the course that I don't like. Just click and drag the mouse over the objects, or press Shift and click on each object. Then press Delete to remove the selection from the environment. Now let's add some objects to the environment. You can find all of the objects here in the Assets pane. As you can see, they're organized in a tree structure by object type. We can choose from barriers, obstacles, vegetation, and more. I'll add a hay bale by clicking on it and dragging it straight into the environment. I can place the bale by clicking and dragging the arrows like this. Now I'll need a bunch of bales, but I don't want to drag and drop each one. That's a pain. Instead, I can duplicate this one by pressing Ctrl and dragging the object. If I want to place a row of objects, I can press Ctrl and the arrow keys. This button lets me change how I manipulate an object. I can toggle it to move, rotate, or scale objects. You can see how the manipulator axes change as I switch between the modes. To rotate an object, just click on one of the rings and drag. Each ring represents a different axis, so the object will rotate along the axis of the ring you drag, like this. For a quick shortcut, press Shift-Ctrl and the left or right arrow key to rotate objects at 45-degree increments. You can also scale objects by dragging the scale manipulators, but not every object can be scaled. Press Shift to keep the scale ratio the same. If you want to manipulate a group of objects, you can either click and drag to select them, or you can press Shift and select them. Then manipulate them just like you did with the one object. If you're rotating a group, you can rotate them around each object's center or around the group's center. Toggle this button to switch between options. If you're repositioning an object or a group of objects, you can move it along the world's axes or along the object's axes. Toggle this button to switch between options. Now often you'll want to make sure objects are spaced out at a certain distance. You can measure distances between objects with the Distance tool. To measure a distance, click the Distance button, then click the Start point, then the End point in the World view. Once you're done making changes in the environment, you can save it with a new name. This new environment can now be loaded anytime you use ANVEL. Modifying an environment is a pretty simple task, but you can use these basic tools to create anything from minimalistic environments to highly detailed and complex ones. Now try it out on your own and have fun experimenting with it. Thanks for watching.